let's talk about some LeBron James. You guys down with that?
Why not? Why not? Who? LeBron James.
Oh.
So he's still a free agent. Normally by this time when he went through his free agent process, he kind of dictated where he wants to go.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's the case today.
You don't know if that's the case?
I really don't know if that's the case
today. Listen, again, we're going to get a whole lot of LeBron lovers that's going to be hating on us because of the fact of the matter is this. Listen, 10 years ago, yes, every team was calling to get LeBron James on their team.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago. Now, Rich Paul and company, they making all the calls to see who's interested in having LeBron on their team. Again, guys, we got to understand that the guy's 41 years old.
Yep.
Been in the league 21, 22, 23 years.
Incredible career.
You know what I'm saying? Unbelievable career. Still playing at a high level.
Yes, sir.
Nobody's saying that he can't play, another year or two in this league. But as far as teams that are looking at him right now, the teams are also saying, all right, we're going to take him for 1 year, maybe two, and do we want to take all the other shit that goes along with it?
What's the other shit?
All the other antics, the people that's working with, Rich Paul and all those guys and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
Bronny James?
Bronny James. You have to get Bronny James out of his Laker deal. So there's a lot of layers to it when you're talking about bringing LeBron along. We all know this for a fact. He ain't going to go to another team and say, well, I'll come off the bench. I'll be a role player, come off the bench. He can still probably be your third best player or your second best player on the team. You could be successful. But the teams that we're talking about that really are looking at LeBron right now, so that, let's say what Rich Paul said, that are looking at LeBron right now, are teams that maybe can get to the next level. And that next level ain't a championship team or winning a championship. That's just my opinion.
Talk about LeBron and Jaylen Brown. I'm probably talking about Jaylen Brown in the second half. So, I was listening to Byron Scott, and I'll put a couple clips in there if I can find them. He don't seem too fond of them. Basically, he said nobody wanted LeBron there, and, the city of LA never wanted LeBron there, and so on. So, LeBron is pretty much holding the league hostage, or trying to hold the league hostage like it was 20 years ago or something like that, and what his decision and where I'm going to go. And, people saying that, teams don't want to put up with that shit, with LeBron shit no more. They don't want to put up with it no more. And, at the end of the day, it is what it is. LeBron got to remember, this ain't what it was. That's my thing about it. It ain't what it once was for LeBron. And LeBron don't want to realize that. That's the crazy thing about it. Like, nobody really care where you go at this point, bro. Wherever you go, nobody's striking fear like, oh, the Cavaliers are championship contenders, or the Philadelphia. I don't give a fuck, man. If anything, he hurt their chances, man. LeBron is just, one of the things that he's really cursed the NBA with was the ability of these players not to play without the basketball. Most of these guys coming to the league never learning how to play without the basketball, watching LeBron. And then, some of them is able to learn to play without the basketball. But once the ball is not in their hands, they don't know how to catch and shoot. They don't know how to backdoor cut. They don't know how to play defense. They don't know how to shift and create space. They don't have slashers no more, or none of that no more. You feel me? So, but yeah, nobody, I just ain't never care. Care for the guy like that. No, I didn't really care for Jordan either, but, I respected the game and respected him on top, but it just seemed like LeBron just trying to force it. And, when you become a celebrity, a lot of them become addicted to the fame. They started to thirst for the fame like a fish for water, you know what I mean? So I get it, but at the end of the day, it's just irrelevant at this point. Add LeBron to your team really don't help you. It don't help you. Because he's not going to just, fall into a role as a supporting cast. No, he's been the main. He got main character syndrome. Everything revolves around LeBron. And, most people think the Lakers going to take a huge step forward just losing LeBron. Not even talking about adding Walker Kessler or some of the other guys that they added. So, at the end of the day, it's a belief that LeBron made people better. It depends. Like, if you're talking about Damon Jones and Boobie Gibson, but a lot of the superstars that he played with, he did not make them better. You have to conform to what LeBron wants. So him trying to, dominate the headlines like his early in his career, I mean, it's a wrap. And they usually say the last people to know things have changed is older people. And maybe he don't understand that he ain't who he used to be no more. He not. They like, well, 10 teams are interested in LeBron. I don't give a fuck about that, dog. That's probably a lie. It's probably like 1 or 2 teams that's legitimately interested in LeBron. Probably 1 or 2 teams. If you go to Cleveland, go back to Miami, who gives a fuck? It don't strike fear. It don't strike fear wherever you go. Like, cool. If that's what he chooses to do, cool. Maybe somebody get an opportunity to see LeBron James play before he retired. That's about it. Like, if anything, it's time for him to let the game. Him, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, I just had enough. Just leave by. Shit. Let these young bulls take over, bro. But let's talk about Jaylen Brown. So, brother Jaylen Brown, it was an interview. They said it was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks.
So the people, I didn't care about the front office. Once you get the people talking about it, they start asking those questions. And in Boston, what ended up happening, this is like a forgotten moment in time, but they ended up having a petition. Like the fans sent a petition, like put Jaylen back in the starting lineup.
Wow.
And that eventually made the Celtics put me back in the starting lineup. Not because I feel like they wanted to. I think Brad preferred Gordon. For one, he was making more money. 2, he was coming back off injury. Also the Butler. So
keep it at Butler.
I'm just, you know what I'm saying? They gave Gordon every chance offensively that he absolutely could. And they felt like he deserved it because he made that big commitment to come from Utah and from being an all-star to now, and it just didn't work out.
What's the biggest misconception from a fan about being an NBA player?
To me, the biggest misconception is that sports and politics don't coexist. I think the average mind thinks, just sports. It's not connected to anything. It's just entertainment. So untrue.
Yeah.
Partners of the NBA, partners of our league. And sometimes these partners have political agendas and biases versus what's state of the world versus, I don't know what's going on or whatever. And that gets pushed onto us to have to either co-sign or not.
Yeah.
Sports is extremely political.
Just get 40 though. Don't worry about that.
I'm a pawn. It's crazy. I wake up some days and it's like it's a bigger game going on. And obviously I love to play the game of basketball. And I've talked about this before. Sports is a mechanism, could be viewed as a mechanism for control. And I remember the first time I said that, I was 20 years old. I had just gotten to the league. I was in Boston, and I'm thinking I'm talking to like a normal beat writer. Happened to be like this big writer for The Guardian. And it was like, this dude put me on the cover of The Guardian newspaper saying, Jaylen Brown says sports is a mechanism for control. That's when I was 19 years old. And then that went viral. And then that's when I got invited to Harvard to go speak about it. So Harvard invited me based on that article in The Guardian to come speak about it. That's why I became the youngest Harvard lecturer, because I was talking about how sports is a mechanism for control, because that became controversial. Like, how could this 19-year-old player say sports is a mechanism for control when sports the NBA just helped him recreate generational wealth? He just changed his whole family's life through sport. How could he criticize it? Right? So I got a lot of pushback, even from my organization. Danny Ainge came and talked to me. Like, what is this? Of course, you're 19 years old. You just got drafted, your family. How can you say that sports is a mechanism for control? They didn't understand. But there was understanding that needed to be had.
Yeah.
And I spoke to that at 19, and I still speak to it to this day. Sports is so political. It is like everything that we can talk about so many different times that I could bring up just through my career. And I can even talk about what's going on right now. The statements that are being made is political.
So whatever, 2 or 3 weeks before he got traded, and he talked about how Brad Stevenson you know, who was the head coach at Boston at one point, and then you know how they do their people. You know, they you know, they don't fire them. They just, you know, make sure they get him a different position. So they ended up making him the GM because he was a shitty ass coach. So he basically said that I wasn't aware, I forgot this or wasn't aware of this, that the Boston fans started a petition because he was playing his boy Gordon Hayward, where they played him a high-priced free agent from Utah. Now Gordon Hayward and him, they played at Butler. You know, Brad Stevenson coached Butler. Gordon Hayward is his player, and he was trying to play Gordon Hayward over Jaylen Brown, and rightfully so. You know, he was, you know, the big free agent, made all the money, and people got tired of seeing that shit, and Jaylen Brown was significantly better. So Jaylen Brown said that to the media, or said that on this interview that, you know, Brad Stevenson, he was basically like, yeah, he was doing what he was supposed to do. You know, he paying him all this money. This is boy, there's a certain amount of loyalty there. And they said a few weeks later he was traded after doing that interview. You know, people don't be wanting you to say the truth. That's how you really know what the truth really is. When they trying to shut you up, or they trying to shadow ban you, or they taking your post down, that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the one thing about social media. When you speak the truth, you gonna know they gonna try to stop you. So many people do clickbait. So many people lie on their videos, lie on their articles, lie about statistics, lie about men, lie about women, but it's never demonized. It's never shunned. It's never, you need to fact check this, and nothing like that. When you tell the truth, you can tell the reaction that you get. And he told the truth about a certain situation. He told the truth. But that ain't nothing new. You know, that's your guy. You know, this is somebody you paid, what, 100 million, 180 million to, prize free agent. I think he ended up getting hurt in Boston. Gordon Hayward can hoop. Injury changed his whole career. I think it was an injury that changed his career. You know, but he was the perfect guy. He was the perfect guy for Boston. Honestly, you know, they like white people in Boston. He was a great, you know, really good white hooper. Probably the best white hooper in America at the time going. You know, Gordon Hayward can hoop. Now, don't get it twisted. You know, Gordon Hayward can hoop. Even at Butler, he was nice. But, you know, and that's just the young dude rookie thing. But, you know, Jaylen Brown came in, you know, most people felt he was a better player. But then again, you know, at that point, Gordon Hayward was probably a better shooter too. But Jaylen Brown never really fit the city of Boston. See, they like brothers there that's like Jason Tatum. You know, not really don't let, you know, answer things politically, not outspoken. And it comes a price to speaking the truth and being outspoken. People don't really understand that. That shit come with a price. That come with a price. You know, and that's real shit. That shit come with a price. You know, and the one thing about the price that it come with, when you able to see the world for what it is with the truth lenses that come with that, you can't take them off. But then when you also add the ingredients of being outspoken and calling a spade, you know how many times when people, you know, just say in a work environment, ask me my honest opinion, and I gave them my honest opinion, and they didn't like my opinion. Oh no, that's not true, or you really feel that? It never helps. It never helps you. Rarely in corporate America does your transparent opinion really help you, bro. Being honest and transparent about your experience, especially as a black man or a black woman, no. You better, yeah, you know, kind of the thing where somebody asks you, are you okay? You know, just in passing, how you doing today? Do people really want to know, hey man, I'm tired, my ass itch, and woo, woo, woo. People don't really want to hear the God's honest truth about how you're doing. You know, when people, even people that you are families and friends with, they don't give a fuck about how you doing. Now, if you end up sick, you end up dead, you end up, you know, going through something. Oh, why you didn't say it? I wish he would have said. This shit is just all fake. You know what I mean? But once you put the real lenses on, a lot of people, you know, about 95% of people on this planet live in a delusion, bro. They live in a delusion. hate to break it to people, about 95% of people out here live in the delusion. They really do. They live in this delusion. They live in this delusion, you know, that racism doesn't exist and, you know, placism doesn't exist, or, you know, everything is perfect. And, well, bitch, why, man, you know what? You get in front of people and just start riding your brakes. I see why you a fucking student driver. Oh, man, these Indian people behind the wheel, man, I tell you, should be fucking illegal. But, man, hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the NBA Talk playlist. Find me everywhere, X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram. Peace.